It's all go, 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 isn't it? Luckily, it only takes a minute to freshen up with Burt's Bees Micellar Towelettes. Anywhere, anytime. Made with at least 70% upcycled cotton, these 3-in-1 wipes effectively and gently remove makeup, cleanse, and hydrate, leaving your skin with no oily residue. Available in coconut and lotus or rose water. Visit burtsbees.com to shop now. Burt's Bees. By nature, for all.
This episode is brought to you by Dermalogica and the iconic Daily Microfoliant. This bestseller gently exfoliates away dirt and debris to reveal instantly smoother, brighter skin. Add it to your daily routine to minimize blackheads and dullness while improving the look of dark spots, even on sensitive skin. Try it yourself and discover why it's a fan favorite. Shop now at dermalogica.com/Spotify and use code Spotify for a special gift with purchase.
With addiction, we have to cut back. Now I can't just not work for 6 weeks during Lent. That wouldn't make sense.
No.
But I can, when I get home from work, not work.
Hey, my name is Veronica Cisneros, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3 girls, and married for 23 years. I am obsessed with helping you navigate through the seasons of marriage, helping couples like you break free from feeling like roommates. I will teach you the secrets to having a healthy marriage by providing tools and tips to help you reconnect in a way that you can't keep your hands off each other, where flirting and kissing is the norm in your household. Setting intentional time to date, get to know and support each other's dreams and goals so that you can grow together without keeping score or judging one another. Where you feel seen and heard even when you disagree. Where arguments end with mutual respect and understanding. Where you work together to build and strengthen your family so no one feels like they're carrying the weight of the family on their own. These are the necessary skills your children need for you to model so that they develop healthy relationships and thrive in life. This is the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. Hey ladies, welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. I am your host, Veronica Cisneros. Today's guest is a sister from another mister. Whitney, how long has it been since we've seen each other?
Well, it's been too long since we've seen each other, but I just love hearing your voice. Yeah.
So meet Whitney Owens, a licensed professional counselor, group practice owner, and faith-based private practice consultant based in Savannah, Georgia. With over 10 clinicians in her private pay group practice, Whitney is a trailblazer in mental health. Beyond her practice, she guides practice owners nationwide, hosts summits, a weekly podcast, and a membership community called Wise Practice for Faith-Based Practitioners. Whitney has spoken at major conferences and events, including the Georgia and Maryland Professional Counselor Conferences, and hosted her summit for faith-based practice owners in Savannah. In her downtime, Whitney enjoys family moments, running, reading, and relaxing in her backyard. Please join Whitney on her journey of empowering practitioners and fostering thriving faith-based practices. Hey, Whitney.
Girl, thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So I have to say, Whitney is 1,000% runner. We went to how we met. We were in this mastermind group, and we ended up being in that mastermind group, meeting, I think it was like once a week or every other week, and really, really building and honing in what our goals and our dreams were. Whitney and I were actually partners, and I felt so insecure because I was like, this is like this badass who is doing all of the things and who is accomplishing all of these goals. Totally want to be like her. And I'm partnered with her, and I'm not sure what I'm exactly going to be able to give her and contribute. And yet her and I totally hit it off. And when we finally met at Slowdown School, that right there was when it just, I don't know, it just kind of like, you meet people virtually, but when you actually meet them in person, you get to see like all of their beauty. And I have to say, Whitney, you have like helped me in so many ways being your partner. And now look at us, like we're doing things that we said we were going to do. And like you are doing all of these amazing things. So I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. When I think back on that week we had together in Michigan, you really brought out my vulnerability, and really challenged me to do some things I wouldn't normally do. Hey, now. And so that was like a big part of you in my life, was encouraging me to just step out on my shell a little more and like be more confident in who I was and to really go after big things.
Hell yeah. So now you are hosting summits, you are hosting memberships. How did you, so with all of that, you also are a mom, right? You also are a mom. Both you and your husband have crazy busy lives. So take me through like, how did you manage? I don't want to say to master it all, right? Because we're all a work in progress. But at what point did you realize, okay, wait a minute, this is a lot. And this is maybe taking a toll on my relationship, taking a toll on my family, right? Taking a toll on my sanity. Take me through that.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because sometimes I don't realize what I'm doing. Right? We forget all the things that
Yeah.
we're doing until your husband says, "Honey, slow down. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. There's no problem here," and they're trying to call you out on it because they need us available more. And I'm like, "No, I'm good." Um, I mean, the time that really comes to mind is during COVID. I mean, those were some hard times. And because of the nature of the work we do, Veronica, as
Yeah.
therapists, we need to see our clients to get paid,
Yes.
and we also have an obligation to
Yeah.
serving them during a stressful time in our nation. And so I think that really did take a toll on my marriage, with lots of marriages, because you're at home with your kids. One of my kids has special needs. You're trying to do their schooling, but I've got to see clients to be able to make income. I have a practice I have to manage that we've got to completely pivot and make space for all the changes in mental health that are happening. Well, my husband's a pastor, so that's an
Yeah.
interesting dynamic. And, we're both kind of helping people, but he was on a salary. And he wasn't going to do ministry, because church was closed. And so I was having to work all the time in
Yeah.
their house while the kids are going crazy. He's trying to, educate two kids and then do whatever he can for his job. He felt like he wasn't worth anything. You know, he was the man taking care of the kids and I was the woman doing the work. And that was
Yes.
really hard on our relationship.
When you say it was hard on your relationship, tell me more. What do you mean?
Oh, well, we couldn't really communicate. We were spending so much time just keeping the house going. There was no time for us to talk to each other. And my husband's patience was small, right? Because he didn't
Yeah.
feel good about the work he was doing. So that was taken away from him. He was with the kids all day long and they just rubbed on his patience. And I wasn't available to help because every moment I wasn't seeing clients, I was trying to get a new EHR up and running. I'm trying to talk to my therapist. I'm trying to look at the rates of the practice, making sure we don't fall under. So we were really disconnected during those years, or
Yeah.
few months. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, when we were in COVID, I remember because you and I both own private pay practices, and I'm going
Hmm.
to tell you right now, for those of you guys that don't know, private pay practices, like it's literally, it's literally you don't get paid. We don't have an insurance company feeding us clients. It's us. It's literally our reputation and the work that we've done with past clients that is generating more and more clients. And when you have a group practice, it's not just you have to fill. There are other clinicians you have to fill. And so for me as well, when COVID hit, I remember we lost two clients, and I lost two clients back to back. And I remember going, because they didn't know what their income was going to look like. And I remember thinking, holy crap, like, is this going to be what puts us under? Is this what's
Hmm.
going to be what puts us under? Because if people are starting, and these were the two clients I lost, they were very well established individuals. They, were attorney and doctor. So it's like, wait a minute, if this attorney and this doctor is calling it quits, because of fear due to financial reasons, like how much more am I going to lose? And there's this great fear wrapped around it. And then Willie was also adjusting to, okay, now instead of going to the office, now I'm working from home. And then now we also have the kids, and we both have these full-time jobs. And, does this mean that the kids are, are going to fall, is their education going to be compromised because of all of this? So yeah, there's a great amount of stressors. So take me through, for you, what was that pivotal moment where it was like, okay, my husband's telling me I'm doing too much. I feel like I'm fine and I could do 5 more things. Like, what was it for you when you started to realize, okay, wait a minute, I do need to pull back, or there has to be some shift?
I don't know if that's happened yet. But I will say,
I love your answer. Love your
yeah,
answer.
I will say that I've been doing, so I've had the private practice for 10 years. And then the consulting really has only been going on for
Mhm.
3-4 years. And it wasn't until recently that my husband actually told me he thought I was happy. He has told me for 3 years that I'm not happy.
Oh,
And I've been like, yes, I am.
yeah.
I am. I love the work I do. And he just sees all the work. He sees how tired I am. He sees my distraction at home. But it was finally last
Yeah.
month that he was like, Whitney, you actually seem happy now. And that was big for me.
I love that. And one thing that I appreciate about you is your realness. Like, I think we get so caught up, and there's a lot of similarities between you and I. We're very much devoted. We take a great deal of pride in the work that we do. We want to make sure we uplift and serve our community. And there's this, I don't know if we're hardwired this way, but there's this drive that we have. We know we are capable of doing so much. We literally are capable of changing the world. And yeah,
Mhm.
that you guys might hear that and go, okay, really? No, really, like 1,000%. We 1,000% are, and we will do the work to do it. And I think there's this other part, because we're so driven. Our husbands do see, like, okay, wait a minute. No, no, for real. You need to take some time and reset, or you're working a lot. You're working a lot. And I know when I would hear that from Willie, it would be like, okay, just stop telling me you don't believe in me. And that was the message I received from him. He was not saying that at all. But that was literally the message I was receiving from him: is, you don't believe in me. You don't believe that I'm capable of doing it. And I remember having that conversation with Willie. Anytime you say, Veronica, you're doing too much, it's almost as if you don't believe that I'm capable of doing it. And I remember him looking at me like crazy eyed and being like, where are you getting this from? Like, where's this coming from? Right? Did you ever experience a moment like that, Whitney?
I have a little bit of the opposite. My husband said anytime I say I'm going to do something, he knows I'm going to do it. And so he's learned
Mhm.
that I can't convince Whitney not to do something. I just let her have her process. So I'll start telling him, "Oh, I have this great idea, or I want to do this thing," and he used to say, "Oh, I don't think you should do that," or "Here's my opinion." He's now learned to just be like, "Well, what do you want to do?" Because he knows that I'm going to do whatever I want anyway. Yeah, which is good and bad. 2023 was another really hard year for us. And the reason was my husband was a pastor. The Methodist Church, it's a long story. We could do a whole podcast on that, but it's been falling apart and getting divided over the LGBTQ issue. And so he was losing some of his foundation and his work and things like that. His church was a really
Yeah.
stressful time. And he was a youth pastor. He'd been a youth pastor for 10 years. He'd been trying to get out of that for a year or two. He was burnt out on youth. And so he was not happy. And I, on the other hand, was thriving. I was making, I don't know, easily 3 or 4 times what he made. I have this great group practice. I'm planning this amazing summit with all these people coming to Savannah. So I'm like on a high with my career, and he's on a low. And that was really hard. Like, I felt a lot of guilt when I would come home from work and be like, "Oh, let me tell you about this great thing that happened." And he would just be
Yes.
like, "Yeah, I just hate my job and I got to go back tomorrow. And I say hate's way too strong a word, but he was struggling, and he
Yeah.
really wanted to be a senior pastor and had been waiting on this opportunity to come up, and it just wasn't happening. And he kept waiting and waiting on that career move. And at the same time, I'm like moving forward in my career.
Yeah, that comes up. I did this podcast series on high achieving women, and one thing that kept on coming up is there are times where I feel just something similar to what you just said. I feel guilty because, there's all of these moves. I'm being interviewed to be on magazines. I'm, being interviewed to be on certain shows. And when I come home, my husband's not experiencing those same results. And, he's waiting for promotion. Meanwhile, me being an entrepreneur, there's it's not necessarily a promotion, but they're highlights. People are highlighting me. And, I remember a lot of women saying, and I felt this way, too, where it's like it's almost as if these women were saying, I have to mask or I have to downplay some of my success to protect my husband's emotions. Um, and I know for me, there was a couple magazines that interviewed me, and it was like, I know Willie 1,000% supports me, and 1,000% is like my biggest cheerleader. I know that, and because it was back to back, and there were also, I was also asked. I think it was also during the time that I was announced to be speaker on podcast movement last year. There were like so many things happening. It was all happening like within, a week or two within each other. And it was like, I'm going to say one more thing that I'm doing. Like, this is one more thing to celebrate. And it's like, okay, well, is this something we really celebrate? Or is this something that okay, it's just happening. No big deal. And I really had to challenge myself because it's like, no, hell no. I worked my butt off. Like, yeah, I'm going to celebrate this. But yeah, I also experienced like, it's not like I'm purposely rubbing it into my husband's face, and neither are you, but it's like, there is that struggle in relationships. And this is something I'm glad we're talking about it, because this is something that is very, very common for high achieving women, And so to that, how did you guys get through that? Or what were the conversations you both had?
Well, he always told me how proud he was of me,
Yeah.
and
Right.
never ever said, this is not okay. And then I think for me, I had to learn that his sadness and his situation was not a reflection of me. It was almost like I felt
Bingo.
like I had put him through this or something, which is totally
Yeah.
irrational, but it felt that
Hmm.
way. And so I had to really get to a point where I could celebrate me, but also see that he was his own person and I can empathize, support, and love him, but also celebrate me and that that's okay. And I don't have to feel guilty about that. Now, thank goodness he got a job. So, and it was the coolest thing. Like right at the moment when it needed to happen, he got offered a senior pastor position. It actually ended up, they wanted him to start the week before the summit, which was crazy. I was like, there's no way we're going to have you start your new job at the same time I'm doing this thing. So, anyway, we started it the week after. But yeah, so now he does have his own church and he is so much happier for that. And I can support him a lot easier now than I could before.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, speaking about like, you are now, a consultant, you are also hosting summits. How did you get to a point where it was like, okay, I know what I want to do, and this is the route towards achieving these goals?
Mm. Yeah, I remember so clearly. I had ideas and I don't think I had said them out loud. And I was in a mastermind group. This was, I don't know, 12 months, more like 12 months ago. And one of the men in the group said, Whitney, what do you want your business to look like? Because in my mind, I was like, I have no idea what I want. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, well, I want to have a retreat every spring. I want to have a summit every fall. I want to do individual consulting, mastermind groups, and a membership community and a podcast. And he was like, so what's confusing here? And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I guess it's not confusing. It only just took me sitting down going, oh, this is what I want. Now, is that easy to get all those things? Absolutely not. I have to push through so much. And I know you talk on this show about all the family origin wounds and the pain I've been through in relationships and the betrayal I've experienced. Like all that comes up. I mean, our business really transforms us. It,
Yeah,
it brings up our
1,000%.
stuff and we become better people for it. But I've had to push through all that disappointment, insecurity to get to the life I want. But I'm going to keep pushing through and I'm going to keep grabbing hold of what I want, regardless of what anyone else is going to do or think about it.
I know looking for the right therapist can be challenging. However, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected is even harder. Life is filled with several twists and turns, some more severe than others. We do our best to handle them as they come and find ourselves at a loss, not knowing what to do or who to turn to. The clinicians here at Outside the Norm Counseling are here to help. We are here to assist you through this time of need. Together, we will identify your strengths and goals and teach you healthy coping skills. Together, we will develop a plan to help you live the life you want to live. Our team is compassionate, genuine, and we take a great deal of pride in providing an empathetic, non-judgmental approach to all of our clients. It's time! You've waited long enough, whether it be for you, your child, or if you're in need of a couple session. We are highly trained clinicians ready to guide you. Schedule an appointment now by calling 951-395-3288. Again, that number is 951-395-3288. We're looking forward to meeting you and being a part of your journey.
No, I love that. And you just said something that was so insightful. I feel like my business as well, me being an entrepreneur, has taught me so much about myself.
Mhm.
It has exposed so many insecurities, some insecurities that I did not want exposed, but it exposed them. It has literally taught me that I am 1,000% capable of achieving whatever I want
Yeah.
as long as I commit myself to myself
Yeah.
wholly, entirely.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
I do think a big struggle as a high achieving female is I start to find my identity in my work before I realize I've done it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I love
so,
that you said
we're,
that.
I don't know when this episode will air, but we just started the season of Lent and I'm a Christian. I help faith-based practice owners. And so during the season of Lent, it's funny, Veronica, I have to do the same thing every year for Lent, which is work less
Well,
because
listen, we're a work in progress.
I'm just so in my hamster wheel sometimes of working and doing all the things that I can easily jump on social media late at night, and that's work, or I can check
Yeah.
an email or whatever. And so I have to limit my hours with my phone, limit my hours on my computer, and not work those time frames because I got to get rebalanced. I got to get back to being like, okay, I am Whitney Owens. I'm not just a group practice owner. I'm not just a consultant. I'm not just a mom. I'm who I am. And it's okay to
Yeah.
just be happy with who I am doing nothing for a minute. Sitting on my sofa in the morning with my coffee, listening to music. I don't have to produce anything. Right.
What
And
is that, Whitney? What is that? Because you know what? I get that. I have to remind myself, Veronica, stop. You have to be intentional right now. Like,
mhm.
pause.
I
What
mean,
is
I
that?
truly feel like it's an addiction for me.
Oh God, I haven't wanted to say that out loud, but you just said it
I'm
for me.
sorry.
I've told Willie. No, listen, it's true. I've told Willie, listen, if there's ever anything I'm going to cheat on you with, it's going to be me cheating on you with my laptop. And it's going to be a training video. It's going to be a mastermind group. It's going to be, work. It's going to be emails. It's going to be client notes. Like, that's what I'm going to be cheating on you with. And
No,
it's true.
that is really insightful the way you just said that. It is true. And so, right, with addiction, we have to cut back. Now I can't just
Yeah.
not work for 6 weeks during Lent. That wouldn't make sense.
No.
But I can, when I get home from work, not work. When it's the weekend, not work. When it's, early in the morning, I love working early in the morning. I love to get up at 5:30 and be on my laptop by 6 after I've had some time in prayer and stuff. That's when I'm thinking my best. But I have stopped that during Lent, and I'm going to spend extra time in prayer and reading reflective books or going on a run or whatever it is that I need to do for me. And even though it's only been a couple of days at this point, I can already tell a difference in myself.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's getting ourselves back in line. It reminds me a little bit of like dry January when people don't drink alcohol for
Mhm.
a little bit of time. It's just to get you back and to remember what's important.
Yeah. What would you say is important?
Whew. I mean, first, my faith. I mean, it's the foundation of everything I do. My relationship with God, knowing that I'm loved, that's by far number one. Next, the marriage. If my
Yeah.
marriage isn't going well, nothing else is going to be going well. You know,
Mhm.
it's the cornerstone. And then my relationship with my kids right after
Mhm.
that. Um, and then I think really following up on that, probably, and I don't know if I would have said this a few months ago, but probably next is me.
Yeah.
I would have told you my friends, my job, my church, but that's me giving to everyone else.
Yeah.
I need to take care of myself more. And so that's kind of what I'm focusing on. I actually just joined a women's choir.
Ooh, really?
Yes.
Oh
So,
my, you gotta send me video of this, Whitney.
okay.
I
Well,
wanna hear you sing.
oh my gosh. So this has been really good for me because I feel like all I do was work, and come home and I'm so tired when I get home, it's hard to motivate myself. And like I go out with friends or whatever, but I don't
Yeah.
have hobbies. And when we were going into 2023, my husband, we were at dinner, talking about the new year. He's like, Whitney, you need a hobby. I'm like, I know, dude, but I don't even know what to do. Like, and then I heard about this women's choir going into 2024. I was like, I'm doing it. So it's on Thursday nights from 7 to 9, and it is a struggle every week. I'm tired. I want to put my jams on. I'm done. It's Thursday. So I'm like really done on Thursday. And I was like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
doing this. And so every week I'm committed to it. I have to drive downtown. I have to park in difficult places. And it lasts till
Mhm.
9. I am yawning at 8:45,
Yeah.
but I love it. It's a variety of women throughout the city. And some of them are like from different countries. That's really cool. There's an exchange student that
That's
sits beside me from
awesome.
Italy. But I need that variety in my life and I need something to feed my soul. That's not
Yes.
that's not work or church because those are
Yes.
work kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Whitney, I need a hobby. Oh my
Well,
gosh,
there
I
you
need a
go.
hobby.
So you
Yeah,
start
look at
thinking about
this.
what you want to do. I would love to do a hip hop class with you, girl.
Hell, Whitney, we have to. We
But
have
I couldn't
to.
find an adult hip hop class here in Savannah. So.
We'll meet halfway or I'll if it's not in Savannah, we'll find somewhere else. Listen, I will fly. I will fly to you. We will do it together.
It's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. Okay, now I'm leaving this with I need a hobby. I 1,000% need a hobby. What is one thing that you would say? What is one greatest lesson that you would say your business has taught you or being an entrepreneur has taught you?
Mm. I would say it's taught me to get over myself.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wanna be in control of everything. I wanna be on top of everything. I want everyone to know who Whitney Owens is.
That's right.
Like, I
That's
gotta get
right.
over that. Get over it. Like, this is not about me. I mean, girl, I freaking created a company with my name.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, you
by the
did.
way, I am in the process of changing it to a different name, but, I decided to get over myself.
Yeah, that's
But yeah.
hard though because there's this mission, and it's I wouldn't say it's vain. It's there is this mission, of I know for me I started to realize and I actually found this out in a therapy session for a client. I was providing her with a personal example and I remember sitting with her and I'm saying, you're looking for this formula. You're looking for this formula. And I remember saying this to her and going, "Wait a minute. I've been looking for this formula. Like this therapy is really for me than for you." But it was just like, "Oh my gosh, this entire time I've been looking for this formula, you know, um, to say that to just kind of prove that I've done what I said I was going to do, that I was going to save all of these women, that I was going to, essentially save my mom, that I was going to I was just going to figure this out, and my
Yeah.
dad's passed, but it was like I was going to figure out the formula so my dad didn't abuse drugs when I was a kid and he wasn't on heroin. I'm going to figure out this formula so my mom isn't so dependent on my dad. I'm going to figure out this formula so that this. And it was like, holy moly, this entire time I've been trying to figure out this formula, and that was that drive to go ahead and get my name out.
So what you're saying is we create these businesses out of our childhood wounds and then we keep running with them?
Yeah, girl.
I mean, yeah, like my wound is I wish I had more attention. Like no one paid
Hmm.
attention to me. I was the third kid. My mom was dating around, drinking. My parents went through a divorce. My dad moved overseas. No one paid attention to me. Well, lo and behold, I would start a company with my own name, get all over Instagram. Everybody pay attention to me. And if you don't heart my stuff, what? And now I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but I am making the point that, yeah, I mean, it's your business shows you who you truly are if you're paying attention
Yeah.
enough. And it's a gift. It's a gift that, and I mean, as a faith based person, it's God's kindness to me that He shows me this stuff so that I can make some changes because He wants to love me more, but I've got to see who I am first. Yeah.
Yeah. God, that hit me hard.
Mm.
I feel like we just therapized each other.
Well, that's what therapists do. And I know you like to get vulnerable, so I'm trying to pull out whatever bombs I can.
No, and you're doing it, girl. You're
But I
doing
love
it.
it.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Mm.
So as a consultant, as a mom, as a faith-based practice, as a group private pay practice, um, what is one thing? What is one thing that you want? What is one thing that you want your kids to know about you?
Hmm. That they can follow their dreams. They're capable. Like as a woman, because I have 2 girls,
Yeah,
if you wanna own your own business, you can, and you can make money off of it. There are so many as a consultant, I see so many business owners that are scared.
yeah,
I can't do this. I don't know how to do this, and they run away from it. But
yep,
owning a business is so much fun. And actually, I never would have thought I would have done owning a business. I just kind of fell into it actually with both of them. But my mom owned a business when I was a kid. And I used to
mm,
love going to, it was this beautiful old house in Valdosta, Georgia. And I remember it had like the columns and the little walls, like the half walls. And I would walk on the walls while she was in her meetings on the phone. And I just was like, wow, that's so cool. She has her own office and she's in this pretty
yeah,
building. And I don't think I realized the impact that had on me when I got older and was like, oh, I can do this. My mom did it,
mm-hmm,
and she seemed good. So I'm going to do it
yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh, Whitney, thank you so much for being on this show. You are truly, like I said before, you are truly an inspiration. You are 1,000% doing God's work,
Okay.
and your babies have the greatest role model. The greatest role model. I see your passion, and I mean, I haven't seen you in forever, but it's like I just seen you yesterday because I still get all the warm and fuzzies with you, feeling that love. So, for those that want to work with you, and I'm going to tell you right now, Whitney is no joke. She is very, very organized. She is precise. And like, if you want the roadmap, she will 1,000% give you that roadmap. She's going to challenge you because that's what's necessary, but she will 1,000% give you that roadmap. So, for those that want to work with you, how can we find you?
Yes. So I'm actually in the middle of like I don't know if you call it a branding change. I'm in the middle of a name change. So it makes me a little nervous on when this will go out and what's going to be said. But for now, just email me, Whitney
Okay.
at wisepracticeconsulting.com.
I
So
love it.
my current website is whitneyowens.com, but I'm changing the name to wisepracticeconsulting.com, but the website's not ready yet. So you can check either website and see what pops up. Whichever one you go to, there is an application there. If you want to do some consulting, you just fill that out. We'll follow up with you and make sure it's a good fit and what your needs are. But girl, you heard it earlier. I'm doing like 1,000 things. Like I'm hosting a work retreat in April in Atlanta for group practice owners. And then I have this summit that's in Charlotte this year for faith-based practice owners. So that's going to be really exciting. That's in October. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And we'll have everything in the show notes. If anything's updated, we'll 1,000% have that in there. Whitney, it's an absolute pleasure. We gotta, you know what? And this is to all of our girls. We gotta go ahead and create just a small little getaway for all of us OGs from our mastermind group. Get together and just play. I say play because I know it's going to involve work. We're probably going to go ahead and grab our laptops, but like just have fun with one another. Thank you, Whitney, again for being on.
My pleasure, girl.
Raise your hand if you are ready to level up your marriage for 2023. Do you find that you're spending your time together with your husband checked out and in front of the TV? I know you're ready for tangible strategies that actually get you results. Reignite the spark in your marriage, have fun, and grow together. Well, I hope you have your hand raised at this minute because I have something special for you. I'm introducing my brand new 6-question marriage predictor quiz that's gonna give you personalized results to catapult you into the next stage of your marriage journey. That means you'll receive the results to where your marriage can get the best help. If you've got just 1 minute, head to veronicacisneros.org/quiz. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, and you could take my brand new quiz, Marriage Predictor. Get your results delivered right to your email address. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, veronicacisneros.org/quiz. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.
I know we've been taught that motherhood requires alcohol. I know we've been taught not to question our relationship with alcohol until we've lost everything. And I know we've been taught that if we do dare to examine our relationship with alcohol, we need to head straight to AA and declare ourselves an alcoholic who is powerless to alcohol forever. But what if all that isn't true? That's definitely not my story. I'm Suzanne, the host of the Sober Mom Life podcast. I'm an influencer who stopped drinking in January 2020, and since then, I've been telling the truth about motherhood, influencing, alcohol, and sobriety. If you suspect deep down that glass or 3 of wine at night might just be making motherhood harder, well, you're right. Come and join me as I chat with other sober and sober-curious moms. Let's laugh, cry, and normalize sobriety together, all while we reheat our coffee for the 4th time today.